Good morning, y'all. It is Sunday, June 22nd, 2019 AD. This is the Sludge Report. I'm Uncle Benny because this is Uncle Benny's Creepy Campfire Stories. And I guess one of the ongoing stories here is the stream of sludge called the Drudge Report, which is ostensibly a favorite word, ostensibly a news aggregate. Been around a long time. Started mainly as a gossip column for Hollywood in Washington, D.C., and arguably still is. Either way, it's our local Pravda, in a sense, one of several, one branch of the Hydra. How about that? So we're gonna make this quick. We're not doing Doom Dots. We're not doing music. As I do the Doom Dots, we're just getting right into it. Going to do a couple stories. Maybe there'll be a later edition. But we had a headline change last night. Trump calls off ICE raids. Now, if you watched yesterday's edition of the Sludge Report, which I hope you did, or at least listened to it, I got into this a bit about the announcement on Friday that they were going to do this huge raid today. Think of the absurdity of this. And I used the verse from Proverbs. I don't remember chapter and verse, but the verse is, surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird. What does that mean? As I said yesterday, someone lays a trap right in front of you, you don't step into it, right? There you go. It's that simple. It really is. So what happens? First of all, it was useless to announce that they were going to make these raids in 3 days. Oh, yes, they'd round up some. I mean, if that's even real. Oh, to just go flying out of the wagon? Yeah, a lot of things. I've been calling the news mostly fake way before you probably ever heard about it. It's a big thing to say now. Deep state, fake news. That's kind of funny to me. I've had that account since shut down. I used to talk about that. I remember even specifically talking about it. I was digging up the report of that Chinese airliner. I think it was from China that landed in San Francisco and skidded on the runway. Allegedly, a fire truck in the foam. There was someone on the runway got killed. But anyway, they were hauling the plane off. You know, they had pictures of the plane being hauled off in a ginormous type of maybe a couple trucks. I don't remember now. No scratch marks on the underside. Can you imagine a plane landing with no landing gear, skidding along the London? I'm talking a big plane, you know, at least a 737. I don't know what model it was, but no skid marks. And I remember making a post about this, and I remember saying most of the news is fake. You know, everybody says, "No, do I care about is that a claim to fame?" Man, I don't know. I don't care. I'm creative, but who knows? Maybe I heard it somewhere. I don't think so, but I don't remember. Either way, there's probably more to that story. I just think it's kind of interesting that you can actually, it's almost like, you know, when they put barium or something in a patient's body and they track it, it goes to certain organs. That way they can follow the flow of things, or however they do it. Or maybe people studying something put a dye in something and watch the flow of things, right? So you can see how people parrot things. All of a sudden, deep state was a big word. And I would ask people, I lost friends over this. They seem to be, you know, good people and concerned with truth. But again, for every 1,000 people hacking at the branches of evil, you may be very, very fortunate to find one who's hacking at the root. What do I mean by that? Well, that means that I would send them a message. Who is the deep state? What are you talking? Do you know who the deep state is? You know, I mean, I wouldn't say it. I tried to be kind about it. I wasn't accusative or insulting. They don't have any answer. They could have had an answer. They could have looked into it and got back to me. They didn't want to admit they didn't know, and they didn't take the time to go look into it. They're just repeaters, repeating everything. I'm sure I repeat some things, but you know, we need to have inquiring minds. Inquiring minds want to know. I think a lot of people are just happy with what they know and the side they chose. Yeah. All right. So let's keep moving because I want to crank this out. Policy request granted. I think her request was for him to call off the ice raids. I don't really want to click on this link because I could go probably down some rabbit trails. I want to stick with what I've kind of outlined very quickly to get into. So let's go over to, let's see. Trump announces a 2-week delay. I think that's delay. Oh, there's an ad here. Let's see. How do I get rid of that? Okay. Yeah. Announces a 2-week delay on planned dawn raids by targeting. Now, what is the point of a dawn raid? Well, it's to catch people unawares, right? they've had now a 2.5-week warning. Think about this. Is this guy for reals? Is he serious about, I'm going to deport 1 million people? I'm gonna uphold the rule of law. The people here illegally. Now, I don't know if this is the article I scanned last night. There were some interesting things I wanted to comment on, but Trump announces a 2-week delay. We got 2 weeks to take a vacation and skip all this. Here's the mind control word again, migrant. No migrants, okay? Migrants come in and they become immigrants at the proper channels, right? If I drive straight into Mexico, I'm not a migrant. I'm going to be a prisoner, okay? Right? That's how they roll. Anywhere. Okay. They're very, very serious at borders. At least the ones that I've been through, which is a number of them, and they don't joke around. They are very sober-minded and very stoic and very, they're either absolutely apathetic and just stamp you through, or they really take their job. They enjoy these questions and sending you over to secondary and things like that. So I remember one time going into the United Kingdom, and I was a lot younger, and the border, I don't know what you call him, not customs, well, whatever he was, border agent, for lack of a better word. I remember him saying, and I'll do a little English accent here the best I can. He said, "Oh, you to be trusted." It was just so funny to me because it never crossed my mind. Of course, what am I going to do? I wasn't over there to take down the United Kingdom or anything. I just thought it was a very interesting question, but it was a serious question. And how do you answer that? Of course, the answer is yes. Who would say no? It was a stupid question, but who knows? Anyway, moving on. What's the point of this? Trump gives him another 2 weeks. What is all this? It's a shell game. It's just smoke and mirrors. It's headlines, playing games with headlines, which is what? Playing games with your mind, playing games with the national subconscious and or conscious, okay? He says he will deport them if talks fail. Well, you need to get a hold of them first, but when you're telling them when you're going to show up at their house, I don't think that you're going to get a lot of them, or you're not going to. That's very inefficient. That's bad business. Good business is efficiency. Yeah. He claims to be this great businessman. Who knows how he got where he got? You have to wonder. Okay. Trump said he's delaying enforcement action. He's using lawlessness as a pawn, right? So he's done this, by the way. Okay, hang on a minute. Stop seeing this ad. Let's just say ad was inappropriate. All the ads are inappropriate generally. They cover content and they never change it when I report that. All right. So anyhow, here's all the cities. If you live in any of these cities, you might want to relocate for a little while. Lay low, as the parlance in the criminal world. Got to lay low. Okay. Mayors are rebelling, vowing not to help. I mean, all this drama, all the world's a stage. Trump now says Congress has 2 weeks to reach a solution. I have not been tracking this. Who's got the time to track this and keep track of all the times that there's little lines in the sand drawn, false deadlines and whatnot. Okay, here's the thing. I got to see if I can find this momentarily. Okay. Here, I think this might be it right here. These are people that came into the country illegally. They've been served and gone through a process of the courts. They have to be removed from the country, and they will be removed from the country. Okay, so maybe that's not exactly what I was looking for, but similar. So they've already gone through the courts and been ordered to be removed, or they escaped, right? They slipped through their hands, and yet he's letting them slip through their hands another 2 weeks. Now think about this: how many of these illegal invaders who know they're going to be thrown out of here might just get the idea like this is a time to get and go, get and go, meaning commit some crimes, get help the people that are, do some crimes, do some robberies, do some burglaries. I don't know, party down, get drunk and drive and kill people. I don't know. He's playing games. He's playing games, big boy games, playing games with people's lives, right? Let's see here. The people that ICE will apprehend have already been ordered to be deported. That means they have run from the law and run from the courts. Well, why is he giving them more of a head start? I mean, these are, again, the big part of the Sludge report is understanding the spin, understanding how this stuff just goes right through you as like we don't think about it. We don't ask questions. There's not really a place to ask questions, is there? And the reporters don't ask questions. They just report this. And there should be a little bit of editorial comment that says the president didn't respond to questions about why give people who are running from the law more time to be lawless. So what is the upshot of all this? Okay, wait, these people are supposed to go back to their home country. They broke the law by coming into the country and now by staying. But we're going to let them stay a few weeks longer. This guy is a joker, okay? He sounds good, and maybe there are some things, quote unquote, being done good, but I could probably go through the last president and find things that were, quote unquote, done good. It's called the totalitarian two-step by some people. It's called the both wings of the same bird. It's a way of, if you watch go look at how does a sailboat sail against the wind? It zigs and it zags, okay? It goes left and then right against the wind. It's the way they move, like a snake. Think about it. Think how a snake moves. It pushes itself by curling to the left and to the right. And think of that image in your mind and think about how they zig and they zag, okay? They zig and they zag. All right. I don't even care. We could go on. That's one thing I do. I do like the Daily Mail from the standpoint that even though some of it might be repetitive at times, they sure do find a lot of pictures and videos, and they got a lot of verbiage where you might find something that you wouldn't find elsewhere. Even though I don't know. Daily Mail, I think, is maybe a joke of a tabloid to a lot of people. I don't know. I kind of enjoy sometimes reading things there. But, I look at the same story in different places. The Sun, probably the same way. All right, so this is, let me back up here. Let's see. Okay, well, that's Spy Execute. I don't want that one. What's this one? Yeah, here we go. So the title of the video this morning is Atari Attack. I just had to whip something together real quick, and many of you might be familiar with Atari. It was one of the first mass-produced commercial video games available to the public, and lots of games and everything. But the bottom line is that there's a reference to joysticks in there because of drones and things. There's also the fact that it's a computer attack. Okay, U.S. struck Iranian military computers this week. So all the actual explosions and hut the soldier stuff. Yes, that does sometimes go into real full force, but a lot of it's a show, okay? Because there's real wars going on all the time, economically, and this way, through computers, through networks, through spying, destruction of data. So U.S. struck Iranian military computers this week, okay? So we did attack. We just didn't bomb anything. But I didn't read this yet. Military cyber forces. So, we have a cyber force. Got a space force. Don't make no mistake, we got a cyber force. Okay. U.S. military launched a strike against Iranian military computer systems on Thursday, as President Donald Trump backed away from plans for a more conventional military strike. Now, I'm a little confused on the timeline here. Didn't the alleged drone shoot down happen on Thursday morning? So they retaliated right away. All right, let's move on. Okay. We didn't hear about that till Sunday. He backed away from plans of more conventional military strike. Let's see. 2 officials told the AP that the strikes were conducted with the approval from Trump. A 3rd official confirmed the broad outlines of the strike. All spoke of condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak publicly about the operation. Where is Congress involved in this? These are acts of war. Are they not? Who's asking the question? Where's the constitutionality of this? We're just looking at King Trump deciding to possibly get us into world war. Well, make no mistake, he doesn't act alone. There's a concert going on here. They're in concert. He's in concert. You can hijack the Congress because they're in concert too. Most of them, many of them. Let's just say many. Cyber attacks, contingency plan developed over weeks amid escalating tensions. So they were already planning, right? Think about this. That drone attack happened late this past week. The cyber attacks developed over weeks amid escalating. Do you think they really have just been planning this for just weeks? Man, they run scenarios and simulators and strategies, especially when they are chomping at the bit. Have you ever seen? Let me explain chomping at the bit. Maybe that's just an allusion to a better analogy. Okay. Or that's just a jumping off point to a better analogy. Think of a bull in a pen kicking and grunting and just and restless and or even a bucking horse. The rider, they lower him down on carefully, or he gets on very carefully, and they open the gate immediately because that horse is going to buck. That horse, raw power and energy and muscle, is wanting to explode out of that gate aggressively. Gonna mow down anything it sees. That bull will just tear apart anything it sees. It's running for the nearest object. It's the same. It's the same sort of spirit, really. Anyway, the cyber attacks disabled Iranian computer systems that controlled its rocket and missile launchers. Well, look, son, if you thought that they were I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. If you thought that they were any threat to your $130 million drone, why didn't you disable them before you decided to fly right along the airspace or inside it? You see how we got to think about the news? Disabled Iranian computer systems that controlled its rocket and missile launchers. Yet we're surprised if they shoot down a $130 million drone, which could start World War III. They want it to. When they baited it. Well, look, let me throw something else at you. If they can go in and disable these Iranian computer systems, they could monitor what's going on. Couldn't they? There's a possibility they could even control a missile that was launched. Why didn't they avert it? Maybe there's a possibility they could disable it temporarily. Oh, there's something else I was going to say. I lost my train of thought here. They could disable it temporarily, or why don't they disable it permanently and just say, look, you don't have those missiles anymore, right? Instead of all the drama, the headlines, like we may do a military attack and all this stuff. Well, why would you need to? First of all, they're not attacking our country. Secondly, if this is the big problem of them shooting down drones that are arguably in or out of their airspace, well, isn't this a better way to handle the problem? Well, no, it doesn't make good headlines. It doesn't make good headlines because what do we know really is likely going on? They're war hawks that want a war with Iran, just like they wanted a war with Iraq and Syria and Libya. You name it. Okay. And North Korea, frankly, that's coming one day probably. Okay. 2 of the officials said the attacks, which specifically targeted Iran's Revolutionary Guard, computer system were provided as options after Iranian forces blew up toy. Now they're saying it as fact. Okay, don't forget, Iran denies this at all, and don't forget, we have a lot of confusion. There was mines. Well, that's passive. So did a mine break loose? Who sailed up to the boat and slapped it on there then, right? Just because they have an image, we don't know where it came from, or a small video that's poor quality. We don't know when or where it came from. There have been Israeli primarily, they dress up as the other side and commit things on and make pictures. I mean, why not? Right? God, it's just so insane. All right, there's a lot more here. I'm going to move on, okay? I wanted to talk about something else. I don't know if I really need to get into that because I really want to get going. I got to be somewhere. Iran lawmakers chant death to America as U.S. called terrorist. Okay, well, I didn't read this either. They're saying Iranian lawmakers chanted death to America during a parliament session after Speaker accused the United States of being the real world terrorist. I would say there's some truth in that, by the way. I could make a great case for it. And if you think that, we're the good guys, you need schooling, okay? You need schooling because you don't know what's going on. Pray to God to draw you out of the darkness. And, it takes a humble person to say, yeah, I don't know. I can even say right now, I don't fully know. I don't fully know. But I know a lot more than I did years back. And once you know, it's like a thread unraveling. You start to, it'll happen like a snowball, baby. I mean, you'll start to really see that the world is not what you think. And the manipulation and where we're living, we're at the mercy of God mainly. But there are people that we're human cattle. We're a human resource for the people who serve the God of this world, who has his own plans, right? And the God of this world is not the creator. The God of this world is Lucifer. Amid escalating tension with Washington following downing of unmanned drone. Okay, so let's see here. A couple questions. Where's the video? How do they know this? Death to America chanted lawmakers. Pictures or it didn't happen, right? Video or it didn't happen. And moreover, how do we know they said that? There are already misinterpretations. Now, people don't ask this question. When you hear them say that Iran said Israel, we're going to wipe them off the face of the map, that's pretty incendiary language, isn't it? Well, it was said by one person, apparently. And moreover, other translators have said that is not what he said and not what he meant. Okay, so how do we know this is what they were saying or this is what they meant? How many of them was it? Maybe it was one or two. Maybe they were I don't know. Do we know how Parliament over there works? How many parties do they have? Maybe they've got this little fringe party who is pretty radical, right? I don't know, but they don't talk about this. The news is shite. It is just mind control. All this does is stoke the fire. We're thinking they are our enemy, that they hate us, right? They hate us. Death to America. Well, no doubt some of them do. I have a lot of friends around the world, and I see things that they post, and they're victims of propaganda there as well. Excuse me. Now, don't get me wrong. They're not my personal friends. I just have connections through social media because I like to see what's going on both sides. I like to see what people are saying on either side. They're human beings. How are they being affected? What are their opinions? What are their thoughts? And there are people on in those areas who post memes and videos, and they paint things with a broad brush, and I feel sorry for them because they're really full of a lot of venom, and they don't question their own. Like I'm questioning my own, allegedly my own nation's spin on things and policies and what's going on. So let's move off that. So apparently your President Trump is at Camp David, okay, not Mar-a-Lago. I want to talk about something briefly, then I'm going to hang it up, okay? So let's look at Camp David. What is Camp David? First of all, I looked it up this morning because I wanted to see, Camp David, and I've wondered this before, just haven't bothered to look into it. David is quite a figure in ancient Israel. Okay. So this, at first blush, this seems to be possibly related to Israel. Well, it says here that Camp David received its present name from Dwight D. Eisenhower in honor of his father and grandson, both named David. Okay, maybe, but maybe not. Let's look at something else. You have to look at different data points, right? Here is the Camp David seal. Okay, almost looks like a national park type of a setting, right? But what is this golden braided rope right around here? Oh, Ben, what is that? Look, Benny, that's just a rope. Boy Scouts tie knots and all this, yeah? Well, I saw it as an Ouroboros. What's an Ouroboros? Let's go over here. You see the snake eating its tail? Okay. Ouroboros is an occult symbol. And I've said before that these Luciferians communicate and tell you what they're going to do. They do their magic by symbols. They show you symbols. Okay. For example, you probably shop at Target. Okay. Let's look up Target. One more comment here. I got to light out. Okay. Just, even down here in the ad, let's just look at the ad. See this right here? Well, it's a big red circle, a little white circle, and a red dot. There's a couple, just at first blush, a couple occult meanings here. One is the sun god. Okay. These are people who serve the sun god. This is also possibly Saturn. So there's the dot and the ring, right? Saturn is representative of Satan, Saturnalia, okay? Luciferian, satanic, occult, Babylonian gods, you name it, okay? There's lots of different names for a lot of the same things, okay? But anyway, that's what I mean. That's all I wanted to show you. Ouroboros, snake eating its tail, depicting a serpent. Now, who is the serpent? The serpent in the Garden of Eden, right? Tempted man to defy God. Originating ancient Egyptian iconography, the Ouroboros entered Western tradition via Greek magical tradition. Have I been talking to you about magic a lot? And was adopted as a symbol in Gnosticism and Hermeticism, most notably in alchemy. Make no mistake, there's alchemy going on. There's alchemy going on. Order out of chaos. The phoenix rising from the, you've got to destroy something to recreate it. That's one of the philosophies. Tear down to build up. Order out of chaos. The term derives from ancient Greek, which I don't speak. I can't pronounce that. Tail, food, I eat. Okay. So there's a lot. You can go read it. Read it yourself. Okay. I haven't read through all this, but you can get education, right? There's a lot of Egyptian symbolism in look at your dollar bill. Got the pyramid right there, Look at the obelisk, Washington Monument, big phallic symbol. Oh, maybe some of this may be new to you. Many of you maybe know. Many of you, I say many. Maybe I get 4 views on this, but look. Point is, Camp David. Do you think your president of any ilk is on your side or working for the people? You better reserve that position for absolute 100% proof that, because you really need to assume that he's not. That's my point. You should assume he's not. And in this case, I think it's pretty reasonable to assume that he's not. Anyway, it had other names. I don't have time right now to get into all that. And again, I'm not a scholar on this. I'm just pointing this out. Just, sometimes just keep it simple. Be like a child. There's the Ouroboros. Why is it there? There's a reason it's there. And it's in your face. Okay? Ouroboros. What's that have to do with Camp David? Well, what have I been saying? How many dual citizenships with Israel are in positions of power, particularly the War Department? Okay? This goes back to Iran. Anyway, that's all for now. Enjoy your morning. Maybe I'll do something later, but you know, don't get any on you. Okay, keep the sludge off you. We can talk about this creature later. Imam, whatever. And then this creature. There's a lot to talk about all the time. If you want to, but once you kind of start to see through the BS, it's like when you know someone who lies to you, then you don't believe anything they say. They've been proven that you can't trust them. So it's the same thing with this. It's like you cannot trust the news when you read it. If you're not thinking in framework of biblical prophecy or wisdom, biblical wisdom, or the story of time, his story, Christ's story, if you don't understand the magic that's being perpetrated on you, if you don't understand, and I mean it, magic, the spells that are being cast upon you, if you don't understand the symbolism where you're being shown who is doing what to you, and you don't see it, are you not in darkness? Are you not lost? Are you not enslaved? I say, yeah, you are. And there's one who, when Christ came to set the captives free, it's from sin and death, right? It's also from lies and deception. So seek the Lord while he may be found. Seek him early. Ask him in your heart. Ask him to forgive your sins, to show you the way, to lead you out of darkness, to save you from this present evil world, because it is. It is. It's a prison planet, as I will give, I'm not a fan of Alec Jones, but that's a really great expression. It's a prison planet. So, because the God of this world is a killer, okay? Lucifer. He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. He's a destroyer. He's a liar. He's a killer. And you need to be saved from that. And other people, I'm not their judge in the end, but there are the people that serve this. They serve this creator rather than the creature. Excuse me. They serve this wrong. I'm sorry. That's not what I meant to say. They serve this creature rather than the creator. And they worship him. Why? Because of unbelief, because they know what, like Christ was tempted. Well, I'm not saying he was tempted. Satan tried to tempt Christ. I talked about yesterday or the day before, taking it to the highest mountain, saying all the kingdoms of the world can be yours. All the kingdoms in their glory can be yours if you'll just worship me. Well, you don't think there's human beings that won't take that offer? I'm here to tell you they are. And they're put in positions of power and riches and influence. And we need to be walking in that revelation 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to see clearly our steps, that we do not stumble and fall. All right. Make a great day. This is Uncle Benny signing off.